Hey guys, before we get into this episode, we want you to know that we see all of your comments and we know how excited you all are for the rewatch. So that's exactly what we're going to do. But before we get into that, we do think it's important that we say something about Stephen Collins.
All forms of abuse, sexual abuse of any kind, it's inexcusable. And victims of abuse need to be shown compassion, and they should be given support.
As we rewatch these episodes, it would be impossible not to talk about Stephen because he was such a big part of the show and our lives. But we want to be clear that we did not have any inappropriate experiences with Stephen.
And Stephen will not be joining us on this podcast, and we do not excuse or condone his behavior. I mean, our hope for this podcast is to reconnect with you, our fans, to relive some 90s nostalgia and to share our fondest memories of Seventh Heaven.
And we know that this is difficult, and we understand that it can be triggering. But we just want to say that we love you guys. And we are so grateful for all the love and support that you, our community, have shown to us. So hopefully you guys will stick with us as we continue on this journey.
We love you and thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Hey guys, look, we're official. We got podcast mics.
Do you feel cool?
I do. I actually feel really cool. Do you?
My mic doesn't work.
Now, the big question is Mack going to fidget throughout this whole experience? And are we going to hear it? That's going to be the real
so
test.
much better now, right?
Yes, you're going to hear it much better now.
Well, just please don't hit the pillow every 2 seconds.
File my nails?
Well, I mean, you replaced it with nail polish,
I
right?
did. It was taken away from me.
I didn't want you to get it on the white couch.
It's quick dry. This
Okay.
is toddler nail polish.
That's amazing.
It's
All right.
appropriate.
Well, should we do the intro?
Sure.
Yes.
Who's it?
Mac.
Okay.
Hi, this is Catching Up with the Camdens. I am not David Gallagher. No, I'm Mackenzie.
And I'm not
Rossman.
Mackenzie Rossman.
I'm just
see how I-
Beverly Mitchell.
see how I
So like I
tricked
guess
you?
I was like I am the only one left.
All right.
So I mean, with resounding enthusiasm, I think everyone wants to do the rewatch. So guess what, guys?
So we have assembled.
We are
for
doing
said
the rewatch.
rewatch.
I did my homework.
I did my homework, but I didn't write it down, which is
Oh my
what
God.
I've said my entire schooling career.
I did my homework, but I didn't
write it
actually.
down.
Write it. It's in my head. So David,
David,
Yeah.
somehow.
did you rewatch?
Nope. No,
So
I
how are
didn't.
we supposed to do a rewatch if you didn't watch the episode?
Bev. I thought we were going to rewatch the episode together as a family.
As a family.
That's what I
That's
thought.
very sweet.
Yeah. It's an angle.
It's an angle.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, I do have to say, it definitely, how do I even say this? Rewatching it was very interesting and very embarrassing. And I have a lot of thoughts and feelings.
I look forward to it.
You do. You look
To rewatch
to
it
rewatching
with you.
it.
Bev, that's what I thought
so
we were
we're-
doing here. I was wondering why you guys asked me to rewatch before our rewatch. I really didn't understand.
Because that's what people do. And
I
I'm just
don't-
trying to find and follow the protocol that most rewatches.
But we don't want to
Are.
be like most people.
I was trying to.
I mean, we clearly are not like most
I didn't want to
people.
pre-watch my rewatch. I wanted it all to be
Okay,
in
so
the
then
moment.
should we just
you
try
know?
to dive in right now and
Yeah.
make this happen?
That's what I would have done.
Well, I mean, clearly we have to because you didn't rewatch it.
I didn't
You're
write it
welcome.
down.
You're welcome. We're doing it live.
Okay, so now how are we supposed to do this? Am
We're
I supposed
doing
to,
it live.
Am I supposed to like pull
Let's
it up on
go.
my computer?
How do the new mics work?
Are you situated?
Well,
What is this leg thing? Does she look inappropriate? Is this okay? Do I need a blanket? Okay. All right,
Really?
we gotta go.
You know what? We advertise Patreon on the pillow.
Oh my God, stop. Okay. All right, here we go.
Exclusive.
No, my God. Okay, here we
Sorry.
go.
Only farm.
I mean,
Only farms.
okay.
Oh my god.
I'm just
Dude, if
sweaty.
only
I'm getting
if
that
that
back
meat
of
is not
knee sweat. Is
taken,
it
you
the
guys better
caffeine?
grab it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
I'm not doing it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
You hate me.
Let's focus. Okay.
So
all
wait,
right.
wait. Before we get into the rewatch, what have you guys been up to?
Only farm stuff.
Oh my gosh. Well, I moved. I don't know how to like even continue.
How do you follow OnlyFarms?
I don't know.
Mac,
I was
tell
just,
us about OnlyFarms.
Well, a lot of tomatoes and I
Sexy.
don't really know what to say.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
a lot of humidity
Okay.
and some moisture.
Oh my god, stop.
So you moved. You moved to the
Uh,
beautiful state of
Col-
Wyoming.
we moved to Colorado.
Right. That's
Yeah.
what I said.
Yeah, it's exactly what you said.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. So for the very first time in my life, I am not living in California.
Wow.
It's big.
How's the sushi in Colorado?
That's probably what you expect, right?
I mean, it is a landlocked.
I know.
Isn't that a rule? That's like
Well, we were-
that's a rule, isn't it? You
I don't
You don't
know.
order sushi.
I
There's
mean,
not
I
a coast
have.
nearby.
I have.
But I have to say,
Sounds like a
I
snobby
live in,
California
the
thing to
most
say, doesn't
ocean-
It totally is a Southern California thing to say.
Yeah,
I mean, I will
sorry
have to
about
say the
that.
first thing I did when I got here was I ordered sushi last night.
She did. I saw the evidence. I
So
was
it's
jealous,
accurate,
to be honest.
even though it's
Um,
mean.
No,
I'm
but
just
like
saying.
even I bet it's better than where I live, and there's a lot of ocean in Maryland.
That's true.
If you look at it on a map, which I sometimes
You
do.
know what? Speaking of which, can we try? What is happening? Oh, somebody's at my door.
Bev,
In
do you
Colorado?
think you'll be finished
Yeah.
unpacking in
Are you,
2025?
Bev
or
has to
28?
answer her door in Colorado. Hold on.
I saw your ring thing. That happened a while ago. They've been standing there for a long time.
Oh no, it's just Amazon.
Oh.
He just dropped something off.
I noticed that like 30 minutes ago on her watch.
Bev has robot
What?
maids that get her packages for her while she's in California.
I mean, come on. I am a mom of 3. Yes, everything gets delivered. Let's be real. Like, I can't go shopping for everyone.
Yeah, I feel you. I used to enjoy grocery shopping. Like it was a fun activity that my friends would come over and be like, "Let's go to the grocery store."
That's such
Who
a,
are you?
that's such
Who
a like
enjoys
weird
going-
adult
Yes.
millennial thing to say.
I know.
That is a
How
very
you
weird
enjoy
thing.
grocery shopping.
Okay, wait,
I
but
don't
let's-
anymore.
It's relatable to me though because I enjoy.
Well, now I buy these groceries and like it's like I buy stuff and it's all eaten before I get to have any. Like because I cohabitate now.
That's what happens when you have a family.
Sucks.
There are
You know how
people that-
deep the ice cream is buried in that deep chest? It's under so many packages of frozen chicken.
And it still gets eaten?
No, that's why it's there. It should be safe for my return until my return.
Oh, it's now.
It's now
Oh,
at the
got
very
it,
bottom
got it,
of the
got
deep
it.
freezer. And
It's where you hide your stuff.
Well,
it's
you
my new
now
place.
just told
Fortunately,
the
I-
entire world where your stash is hidden. So
yeah,
I
but I don't
guarantee
think anyone
you.
in my household is going to listen.
Oh, well, then there's that.
And if they are, this is the Easter egg for them to find.
Okay,
when we grocery shop, it's mostly just restocking Lily on all her
Snacks.
favorite snacks.
What are
yeah,
they?
and then usually like, we usually get her like dried fruit and like yogurt she loves and stuff like that.
Oh, Maisie is cheese, cracker, salami, and cheese. And that's what
Good.
she will tell you: cheese, cracker, salami, and
Nice
cheese.
little charcuterie board.
Every time.
Fancy.
That's all she wants. And then pomegranates and mango and lots of fruit. Like
That's good.
I have a lot of fruitarians.
BZ is frozen blueberries are number one.
Ooh,
If
those
you
are
give her
good.
fresh blueberries, she'll be like, frozen! Crackers.
Yeah, all kids like crackers.
Throws them at
Wait,
you.
you know what? I do think let's circle back. I think we need to do one
Oh, yeah.
more.
This is a rewatch.
It's a rewatch, and I think we should do a
David.
reintroduce because I think
Yeah,
we can do that
It's a
introduction
rewatch.
Yes.
again. Introduction.
Not a
So-
rewatch.
Hey, focus, people. Introduction. Who wants to do it?
Rewatching. It's not a
No, would
rewatching
you-
either. Sorry. We're gonna try to talk over each other less. It's going well. All right. So, who are we doing? Who's doing the intro?
You are.
Okay.
Hold for plane.
So, like
Hold
a
for
welcome
airplane.
back.
No. With the new mics, we don't really hear it.
You guys,
We're
I was having a moment that was like funny, and nobody
It
got it.
was a memory thing.
It was
that
like a memory.
Oh, okay.
You
Plane.
just ruined it.
Take 2.
Oh.
our
The
sound
one
stage had
opportunity for
holes
me
in
to be funny, and everyone like, boom, crash.
Um.
it. It's okay, Bev. We'll try again later.
didn't do it. It's fine, right?
Smack the crap out of it.
It still sounds good.
It still sounds good.
So we are back together in Beverly's old house watching Seventh Heaven. We were all supposed to do this homework, watching the pilot, and we're very glad that you were here to join us again.
You're supposed to do our intro.
Yeah,
You're not
I'm
supposed
like-
to tell a
I was like-
story.
I was like, it's not like
Just
a
do our
recap.
intro.
It was a we were
What
doing
is
our
this
intro.
podcast called?
Oh, okay. I'm so sweaty. Oh my god. Okay.
You guys, this
You got
episode
this.
is going to be an entire episode of like us just trying to pull it together.
You thought this was a rewatch.
We thought
We could have rewatched the episode.
it, at this
In-
point.
Okay.
Okay, ready? Pull it together.
So sweaty. Welcome back to Catching Up with the Camdens.
Bro, take a deep breath.
Oh my god, we need a pause.
Please.
Pause.
Oh my god.
Okay.
I'm crying again.
Okay. Hi. Stop laughing at me. Hi. I'm crying now. I'm Mackenzie Rosman. I'm
so
why is this still my job?
Christ, I don't know. You did so
Alright.
great.
Oh, I did?
Do it.
Okay.
That was great. Do it like you did before.
Hi. You are watching Catching Up with the Camdens. I am Mackenzie Rosman.
I thought you were.
I don't know. Okay, let me do it again. Okay. Welcome back to another episode of Catching Up with the Camdens. I am not Simon Camden.
Oh my god.
I'm not Lucy Camden.
Who's the other one? I'm not Ruthie.
You had to curveball it.
Oh my god, I'm literally crying. We need to take
Anyways.
a pause. Oh god.
We just got 8 shorts and nothing else.
Is that one empty?
Don't do any sports reality show.
I was on special forces.
Oh my god.
You put the special.
This is not good.
You know, Bev, I actually watched a little bit of that.
I'm sorry.
It wasn't bad.
Oh god.
I was proud of you.
Were you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. At one point we were.
Well, I mean, mostly I
professional.
just wanted to see you in pain.
I
but,
was. It was
like-
did you saw it?
When we come back, we'll tell you what podcast you're watching.
If we can figure it out ourselves.
We'll be right back.
Okay. So now that we have pulled it together, I think now is the perfect time to do the rewatch. For those of us who did the rewatch and watched it, we'll remind you of.
Okay. I still don't understand why we're not rewatching it together. But I digress. I didn't see it. I don't.
Okay, well, I
didn't
did
see
my
it.
homework and I submitted my homework. Mac, did you do your homework?
I did my homework. I just don't know where it is.
Is it in your head?
Her horse ate her homework.
Or say her homework.
Yeah, it's definitely in my head.
Okay, well, let's start this rewatch from the top.
Yeah.
Which would be the pilot, which, you know, the opening credits is that scene in Eric and Annie's bedroom.
You know, Saturdays where mom and dad sleep in.
Are you trying to be Barry?
Yeah. Don't I look like Barry?
Oh. Well, then I'll be you.
Is that what you were doing?
What are we doing? I don't. Was he trying to
Sorry.
be?
Since I didn't watch it, let me start.
Okay, you.
By
I would
saying-
love to hear.
Actually, the first scene, the scene where we all
Yeah.
interrupt Eric and Annie and go into their bedroom, kind of one at a time, I think is probably one of the best. Like, I think it's the kind of set the tone moment for our show, because that idea it sets that the idea that we all kind of file in. It is a great introduction for
Yeah.
all our characters, and like it sets that the family dynamic of not just being interrupted by your one or two kids, but by
just keep-
the army, they just
Yeah,
keep
the
coming,
army.
right?
One
You just
one
all
right
keep coming
after
in.
another.
And then not only did it do a great job of setting the tone for the show at large, but then you also, for the first time, said your iconic line.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Which I think you probably said every single episode for at least
I know.
For
the
like,
first
and
like
then-
3 years.
I think
What
she
are
said
we
it
doing?
multiple
What are-
times in an episode too. It wasn't
Yeah,
like it's
probably.
pretty much anytime you walked into a room.
Yeah.
But like I
basically.
think probably every episode, at least in the very beginning, you were hit with
I
that.
mean, that's
You
what
hit
I
us
was
with-
saying, like at the start of this podcast. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. I
We're
think you
still
say that
saying
every
it.
you still say it every
I'm
time.
still. Yeah.
And I mean, I think it's also it
Um,
was fun to like we're all piling in on the bed, and it's like that.
Cute.
it-
Was that a king or a queen size bed?
I actually think
vaguely
it
remember
was-
it being a queen.
It was a queen.
The important question.
It was.
Yeah.
I think it was a queen.
It
I also don't remember.
probably
did
was
we
a
all-
queen
It was
for
a
like
queen.
It was.
practicality purpose. Well,
Of
I'm thinking more of
filming
when we were
around
on soundstage, but when we did the pilot, we were still
But
on
the
location.
scene that you see in the pilot is what was reshot on the soundstage. It wasn't the original bedroom,
Okay.
and
I
it
did notice
was
the kitchen, the pilot kitchen.
oh
Way nicer.
way
cast.
nicer,
Way
yeah,
nicer.
Yeah.
I was like,
well, those
"Ooh,
are real
that does
countertops. Yeah,
Not look the same at all.
yeah, but like
So-
also that room. I remember Eric and Annie. Stop hitting the pillow.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Eric and Annie's bedroom. Remember, we rarely shot in there. That was like the set that like was there that we rarely
true.
we didn't ever spend all that much. I mean, granted, I guess we really shouldn't spend a lot of time in our parents' bedroom.
Well, Eric and Annie clearly spent a lot of time there. But,
Fair.
Yep. Okay, so like
Elsewhere, as we'll find out later.
yeah, so that was the the opening credits and
and there's the look between him and Steven, which is like, yeah.
A creepy, knowing look.
No, yeah, like, thanks, son.
Yeah.
But, like, what 16-year-old is trying to help their dad get laid?
One who wants a couple more siblings.
I don't know. One who, like, wants to move
He'd
out
get
or
his wish
something. It's
eventually.
like, well, there's
Yeah.
no more room for me. I guess I have to move out
or
early.
wait to the attic, right?
The
Or was
attic.
it
Oh,
the attic?
yeah, one who wants his own room.
Yeah.
It
That's
worked.
later.
I
That's
mean, then
later
we had
on.
Sam and David.
That's later
That was a
later
big
on
old
the
house we
season.
lived in on that show, and we had
from because of the church. It was the church's house.
Mhm.
Remember?
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the church's house.
Yeah.
I was looking at the bedroom.
You think Eric was one of those pastors who had like the private jet and
Well, if he did, we didn't get to go on.
Yeah,
it. We got a
really.
Winnebago.
one of those guys,
Remember, it was the Winnebago.
prosperity gospel preachers?
So that was like the intro, which was fun and a great way to kind of get the pecking order of the siblings.
Yeah.
And then we all run off because mom and dad want their alone time because it's Saturday.
Lucky them. I mean, 7 children and they still get structured alone time. I don't have that, and I have 1 child.
It's true.
You know, how's your structured alone time? Do you
What
have is it
alone time?
existence? Right.
Yeah. No,
What about
I
you,
only
David?
I only have 3 children.
I live a very unstructured life, so no, there's no structure to anything really. When I have to structure things, chaos ensues.
Ah.
Mm.
Okay, so we've gotten really far into this rewatch.
Into the first scene.
Yeah, we got into the first scene. So, what happens next? You have to remind me, even though I did. Oh, the
Oh,
dinner
God.
scene. Oh, the dinner scene.
It continues with, remember, they're pouring the wine. There's this whole intimacy second. It's like
Oh.
a double beat where
Oh yeah,
it's
it's
going to be romantic. at the
yeah,
end.
and then there's a dinner scene of chaos with the kids,
they're
and then
toasting
and I
with their
and
Chardonnay.
like always, Simon kind of is like spearheading the convo about trying to get that dog, and so
Yeah.
well, you want to do the opening prayer so that way
So I could sneak in some dog propaganda.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
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 Meanwhile,
Simon is
yeah.
clever.
Yeah,
He's a
I
very
mean,
focused young man.
He's very focused. He knows
Yeah.
what he wants, and
Driven.
and he goes for it. He's very driven. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and Lucy is moody as always.
Your voice, you got so high pitched.
My voice was very. I find incredibly annoying. I think that's the hardest part about this whole rewatch is just being like, I feel like I'm listening to nails on a chalkboard
Can
every
you still
time I
hit
hear.
notes like that?
I mean, I feel like I'm sure if I rewatch this, if we do a rewatch of the rewatch, then I'm probably going to find that embarrassing as well. But
Bev, I don't think your voice
Didn't
sounds
annoy me.
bad at all.
What?
But no one likes
Didn't
the sound
annoy
of their
me.
own
didn't it?
voice.
Oh, you guys make me
What?
feel good. Thank you. Because I mean, I do feel like we have a bit of therapy in this too. Because like having Barry call me that I wasn't annoying was like really, really sweet and really like made me feel good. Jessie probably has another opinion, but we're not going to ask her right now. No, but yes, I had a very high pitched. I did a lot of squealing, a lot of grunting. When I a lot of she's very moody. I mean, that girl
were a
has to
huffer.
get. I was a huffer.
You were
Yeah,
huffing.
I definitely huffed.
Yeah.
A lot of.
But you had a-
you know what?
you
I
were
think I did
good.
that.
Not huffing
Yeah.
is in my huffing.
Yeah, we had an episode
how
about
huffing
that.
is
Oh, there
bad.
was an
That was a
episode about
different
that.
thing.
Yeah,
You were emotional.
always.
Right.
Yeah. So back in the dinner scene, that's kind of when we start to like kind of get a sense of each of the characters. So we know that like Mary is an overachiever and has, she missed 2 foul shots and like her game is going downhill fast.
There go the Olympics. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
she
we all
needs-
know what happened to Mary.
so she needs
clearly that's where it started.
Matt's help because apparently Matt was athletic, which I wasn't aware of.
Yeah, they did. I mean,
They didn't
I
really
guess
establish
They
they,
that.
just tested that one out.
they just
and
ran
then-
on the assumption that,
That
the
because
older,
he's the older brother.
can like shoot hoops.
Yeah. And Simon needed a dog. And Lucy, as always, I mean, that was a setup for the entire 11 seasons. Lucy being emotional. I think it was perfect.
Yeah.
It was pretty. And then
It
it
was
was Ruthie being cute as always and just kind of.
I have to feel like Lucy, you had a lot of character development in the first episode. I think more than.
There was supposed to be a lot of development.
Oh, yeah. Well, other
considering
development too,
she's
right?
trying to, and
She
also
was trying to develop.
you're trying to
in
develop
addition
while, which by the way is
to
also something that
what?
like cannot be forced nor cannot, it's just this whole wanting to get a period. That was like such an awkward thing as a subject
I know.
to handle on a television. But I was so excited to be on a show that I was like, let's go for it. Let's just dive right in and
Yeah.
really play all those moments up.
The show gave everybody
Like,
moments to
awkward.
yeah, awkward
Oh,
yeah.
moments
totally.
to stew in.
That's true.
So we all got our turn.
We did. Yeah, eventually. I was the one that like just set it off.
So how old were you supposed to be when we did the pilot?
So, okay, I was doing the math on this. There's some discrepancies that I noticed.
They jumped around.
So, Mary is
The ages
supposed to
adjusted after a few years
Yeah,
when
yeah,
we
yeah.
all started growing.
But
up a little
in
bit.
that
a few episodes.
hold, please. Hold, please. So, in the episode, they say that Mary is a freshman and Matt is
16.
supposed to be a sophomore because he wants to date a senior. But then Jeff, who is Matt's best friend, is 16. So the math isn't like working out
No.
because
and
he should be 17. And I think Lucy's supposed to be, I don't know, like 11. And then
Lucy?
I age up because then I'm only
But
supposed to
you-
be a year difference from Jess.
and I was learning ABCs, but then a few episodes later I was 5.
And we never really established, I think you were just always your age, right? Or do we even know?
He's ageless.
I seem to remember that our characters were a few years younger than all of us are in real life, and then around season 3 or 4, our characters all kind of caught up to us, so that our ages shifted non-linearly based on how we were aging in real life.
My age never caught up to me. That's because I was always I was a year older than Jess.
Right.
So I was always like still kind of a bit behind.
Sure.
But
But where the age balance was in the pilot
yes.
was not static. It shifted in. We all shifted differently over
That's
as
true.
the show progressed.
Okay, bringing it back.
So back to the dinner scene. By the way, Catherine's outfit was so cute in that scene. I love her little front tuck tablecloth shirt. and the high-waisted jeans with the kids or whatever she had.
Oh,
on
she
her
always had the
feet.
kids. I loved
was-
that.
was
Also,
cute.
I loved the storyline with Annie that she always was like, she was the handy one.
Yeah, I
She was
love
the
it.
one, like,
Yeah.
I loved that Annie was the one that, like, could fix anything. Like, the car broke down, she's got it.
And they
Anything went-
stuck with it too.
Yeah, the
No, they,
whole-
like
they-
over the course of the show, they kept calling back to the fact that Annie was handy.
Right. And that's
Yeah.
In that
and
way.
that Eric never took part in any kind of like building, fixing, anything. Like it was
Right.
always Annie. Like I
Yeah.
loved that.
It was a great character quirk for our mom on the show.
It's like
and,
Bluey's mom.
and it was awesome.
I would say that I am not handy, and usually everything that I build breaks because I don't read instructions because I don't like being told what to do.
That surprises
She
me
writes
not at all.
instructions.
Right.
I definitely, yeah. Michael does not trust anything that I build. I tried to build a wagon and I was really proud of myself because I built the whole thing, and then I realized that I did it backwards.
Assembly or building?
Well, I
Is
mean,
it-
isn't that the same thing? It was like it was
No.
something that was in. What do you mean? It was something that was parts, and then it was something that was not a part. It was something that was like built.
Assembling is not the same as like building something. Like putting something
Oh.
together that is like in pieces that are ready to be put together is not the same as like making something.
Oh, you don't want me to make anything. Okay. So
Measure
anyway,
twice,
I am
cut
not.
once.
Lucy was never going to be like Annie, and neither is Beverly. Okay.
In my house, I think I would be considered the handy one kind of by default. I don't consider myself particularly handy, but I do get at stuff when it needs fixing. Try to figure it out. Nothing's falling apart yet.
I think sometimes my confidence may exceed my ability, but mostly I can teach myself to do a lot of things and dive in.
I mean, I
quite
can do
handy.
things,
Yeah.
guys. I just can't like. Never mind. And we should get back to the rewatch.
Anyways, yeah.
Okay.
Simon's like a politician, you know. He's always on his talking points, and he's on top of pushing that agenda.
Simon is like that style of acting where you have to walk into a room wanting something from the other person. You know, like maybe that's Simon's thing. You know what I'm saying? Where they're like,
Yeah, what do you mean that style of acting? You're talking like
All
an
acting?
improv style thing?
well, like I was at some acting class or something, and they're like, everyone needs something, so they walk into a room and they need to get something from the other person, and that reminds me of Simon. And I was probably like in disagreement, like, well, I walk into rooms
With nothing to
with
say or
nothing.
do.
No agenda. You're wrong.
You know what?
You don't know anything. This class sucks.
No, I mean
Anyway.
it's a good.
I don't know,
I think
never mind.
I think it's a better exercise for writing if you're trying to write characters. You want to always keep in mind that everyone has different goals. Everyone's trying to get either something from another person or everyone wants something different from that scene. And so when you're acting, you obviously should always keep in mind your character's motivations and try to put that at the front, you know.
What I
Look.
loved about that scene too is you see Eric and Annie and they're frisky and whatever. And I loved, like, I guess I didn't catch it at the time, but like Simon was young. And like when you came in and said, you know, a dog's a lot less trouble than a baby, I was like, he already knows about the birds and
Yeah.
the bees. Like I was like, wow, he is like so.
Well, I mean, Simon was like 10 or something.
I know, but
you
I have an
know?
11-year-old, and I mean, she's still.
She
Well,
still thinks the stork shows up.
She doesn't get it yet because
Man.
we haven't. But by the way, also, as I say that, I want you to be clear that at that point in time, I was like 15 and like still didn't really like, no one talked to me about like getting your period. So I'm doing this whole show. I didn't even understand it. Didn't really understand. Like, no. Like, I'm still waiting for someone to have the talk with me. So, like,
Fair.
do you know who tried to have a talk with me? Was Jessie. Was trying to.
That tracks.
Aw, of
That
course.
tracks.
Which, by the way, do you know also that she has a book about periods, which is really cool because she's all
That
about.
she wrote for you.
Is that it?
Probably.
Did she write the period book for me? Oh my god, she did give it to me.
Well,
But yeah, she.
an audience of one.
No, but it's like
Um,
she's doing. Jess is doing amazing work trying to like break the stigma of periods and start conversations early and all of that stuff, which is really cool. So
Yeah.
she has like a book about
Yeah.
periods.
I mean, you
Um,
started that.
Oh yeah, I did. In
breaking
fact,
the stigma.
Stigma,
about,
by
putting it out
doing
there.
it on the
Yeah.
pilot episode.
Jess owes you royalties.
I
I
think
mean, we'll have to Jess. I have a conversation. No, just kidding.
that was a really funny line, though.
It was.
of yours. Like that was probably the first time that I laughed. I think when watching the pilot was that crack of Simon's.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a good one.
1 point for me.
1 point for
Mhm.
David. Okay,
Yes.
now let's. What happens
In the next
next?
scene, Lucy is standing on her head.
Oh God. Oh yeah, because I couldn't do a handstand.
And the line
so-
again.
And yeah,
This is twice. We should have a counter.
we should.
If,
Oh
if
my
we
gosh.
were rewatching it, we
Of
would have
what
a
are we
counter.
doing?
I'm gonna sass you guys the whole damn time. I don't care.
Yeah, this is Lucy's standing on her head, and Ruthie comes in. What are we doing? And
Which-
and I instantly, as
Huff.
soon as as
Yes.
soon as Eric comes in, I huff and run to the bathroom.
And you run off. Yeah.
Yes, and then I remember being in that bathroom, which also is we never really used because it was really small. That set was really small, and making like ridiculous faces at myself in the mirror while Eric is trying to talk to me through the door, and then I throw soap at the door because I'm
I
mad at
remember
Eric,
that.
and I in the rewatch realized how clear my athletic abilities were. In the fact that I was aiming for the door and I hit the shower. And so
You know-
there's a lot of setup for the rest of my life in that pilot.
Eric really.
How
Took
what
one
it,
for
how
the
is
team there.
your microphone the only one that has an issue? How is
Story
it?
of my life, Beth. I'm kidding. I
John,
don't know. Probably because I keep. Like,
can you fix
nailing
Max
it.
mic?
He disappeared for something.
How do you guys like
but
these
I
podcast
just
mics?
sneezed.
It's pretty sick, right?
He's gonna try to tape. Should we
He's
tape
gonna
it
tape
to
it
Mac
to Mac,
or
yeah.
are
I
we
need to
taping it?
unfold. I'm getting like.
What's happening with
really
your?
too old to
What
sit in
is-
this-
I'm gonna tape her down.
I'm getting too old to sit in the same position for a long time.
I'm doing it. I'm trying.
And we'll be right back as we fix Mac's mic.
And then the next scene, we're outside where Mary is looking to improve her.
Didn't
jump
she
shot.
ask Matt to teach her how to kiss?
Yes.
Yeah. Is
That-
that what you were talking about?
Yeah.
Was
See, I remember the show.
No, do you remember that in the pilot they did kiss?
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they not
Oh, you didn't rewatch the
No,
episode?
no, 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 no,
You
no,
didn't
no, no,
rewatch
no,
it? It was
no,
supposed to
no.
be watched
They
it.
didn't kiss
No,
in the
not
kiss
no, 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 no. They did it. We shot it. They did not put it up. It did. They but Jesse and Barry shot it, but they.
I remember that they.
But
It's
they
not
made
in
to
the.
have
it's
to
not
go
in the
through
episode.
for it not to be.
No,
They
they
backed
almost.
out of it?
They almost kiss. They almost. They do the
They just did it both
almost.
ways to be creeps about it.
That is
well
so
because
weird.
because remember the pilot we
we
shot
wouldn't have
in
gotten picked up
Altadena,
if that had been in
Yeah.
there.
and then they reshot it when we're back at in Santa Monica.
We
they
reshot parts of it.
Yeah, we reshot that scene so that Jesse and Barry didn't kiss.
Okay. I don't remember doing.
But we did the actual. They did the kiss.
reshoots.
So
So
we
wait,
did.
We were at Centinela before the pilot was aired
You see, I remember shooting the pilot out in
Yeah.
Pasadena. I don't remember
at the house.
being on the sound stage until we got picked up.
We got picked up, and we had to go back and reshoot some of it of the pilot. We got picked up without it airing. It didn't
Oh.
air until we
Okay.
got.
I believe
That's
you.
why
Yeah.
I'm thinking we shot the pilot in '95, and then you're saying it started airing in '96, probably. Anyways, sorry. Well, I'm just saying if
No,
it
yeah.
wasn't aired, that might be where the
Thanks.
confusion of this very important detail
I'm sure somebody
lies.
on the internet will figure it out, and we'll have a better
We'll remember
idea
what
of
happened in our lives.
Yes,
so
they will.
back
Probably
to
better.
what's it called when you kiss your sibling?
That's not. That's not.
It's called Game of Thrones.
Borgias. Yeah, exactly.
Eat your heart out, Game of Thrones. Seventh Heaven did it first.
Yeah.
I loved Game of Thrones.
Everybody loved Game of Thrones.
you watch House of
Until we
Dragons?
didn't.
God,
As
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
controversial, uncontroversial thing to say, I guess. But
So in the next scene, we see Eric at the pool hall because that was Eric's thing.
Eric's thing was he was a pool shark.
Exactly.
And a guitarist.
Oh yeah, and a musician.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
But I
And a
love
meddler.
the setup for he's basically setting Matt up for the adventure with Mrs. Bank because Eric is all knowing, and he knows that Matt is trying to smoke cigarettes.
But no one knows.
He thinks no one knows, and his trick was pretty lame. By the way, he's like just like
Banaka or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was like he had breath mints.
Do you remember the scene? I remember doing it with Mrs. Binks coming to the door, and she's got
Yeah.
the oxygen tank. And who was the actress who played her? Because she was
Eileen
amazing.
Brennan.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Eileen Brennan. And
Gosh.
she was fantastic.
Mackenzie
She was
Rossman's Eileen Brennan impression.
Hello, Matt.
But it's
Maybe I'm really off,
'cause
but
it
that's
was-
how it.
I
seemed.
loved that whole storyline because he sets Matt up, and they take him on a joyride in that fantastic red. You would know the car had you watched the rewatch. It was a red It was a red convertible.
It was a little red Corvette.
No, it wasn't a Corvette. It was, but it
Thanks,
was a
Matt.
really cool car.
And Matt got excited about it. That was
Well, yeah, but then
I
remember she wanted. She was on oxygen, and she wanted to go. She wanted to go get smokes. She wanted to go get
Yeah.
more cigarettes, and that's when Matt realizes like the very important lesson that
that
you
you shouldn't
should
smoke
not.
while you're on oxygen.
Well,
You
I
should
think
take it
the key was
off.
don't smoke cigarettes.
I'll
was
have to
the real-
rewatch it.
I'm pretty sure that was the full messaging. And then of course, like all good kids do, he immediately quit and didn't smoke
He
anymore.
learned his lesson
Yeah,
immediately.
he learned. Yeah, because that is one thing that we did on Seventh Heaven. We
And then
learned
quit
pretty quickly.
without issue
Yeah.
Yeah.
or struggle.
we
Yeah.
were
And s-
really fast on the lessons.
Like you do.
Yes. Yeah. Oh,
They didn't play it off like he was a smoker, though. He was like flirting with cigarettes. He like
True.
had to.
Well, yeah,
you
because
know,
we never really committed to
Yeah.
like he didn't have a smoking problem.
he was like considering getting into cigarettes.
I think it was
kind
like
of
he was
more
just
the
trying to be
vibe.
cool.
Yeah,
But then the next was the
scene.
church scene.
Yeah, I want to know and take a vote. If either of you had to do either a dinner table scene or a church scene again, which would you choose?
They were both awful. Because I just remember that the church was always in the high heat of summer and it was so hot.
yeah, but church scenes were awesome because all we had to do was sit there. Like
True.
for most of the day, we didn't have to do anything. We just
That
had
is
to sit
true.
there. And Steven
That-
had to do like a 3-page monologue.
Which by the way,
One line.
by the way, often
yeah, and we would just be like, "Hey,
He's
and
number one on the call
You
sheet.
know? bring him a Game Boy today. We're at the church."
and remember oftentimes like we wouldn't have to be there. So we would just get our coverage and then
I mean, I
We're
was
out.
there doing school
was-
in that funny smelling back room.
oh yeah, back there. I
Yeah.
remember that room.
That's right. Sometimes we
For
would
that
do
what's that church
school
called? What's the
in
church called?
It's called the church right on Colfax.
It's called that's what it's called. First
I think
It's
that
in
sounds right.
Studio City. Go
And
check it out.
I mean, so many people have like gone there to take pictures because
Yeah.
it's like
I mean,
it's
when
an
I drive
iconic
by it,
church.
It's the one like iconic thing from the show that
Yes.
I see in my life once in a while when
Yeah.
I'm in town and I go, I worked there.
So, have you decided that
Yeah. You know?
between the church and the dinner table, you'd rather reshoot at the church?
Yeah, dinner. I didn't like dinner table scenes.
The dinner table scenes were more difficult.
Yeah.
The work was more spread out between everybody. We all had to do, and then there was the funny business of eating when you're doing
Shuffling.
a scene because in a dinner scene, and I think we've talked about this a bit on the podcast, but everyone has to be eating because we're sitting at the dinner table, but you don't want to eat that much because you're going to be there all day and you're going to have to take the same bite every time you do the scene. It was more to do, and it's a tighter space to shoot in. The church, we had the whole church to ourselves all
Yeah.
day long. And, we were always there on like an off day, like a Thursday or something. The church is,
it
And the
was
hard part
100
too
degrees.
about dinner scenes too is like remembering like your fork is in your right hand. On the third line, you take a bite. It has to be potatoes. It can't be the turkey. Shift this to the left. Like there was like so much orchestrating. Of
tons
the-
and tons of
choreography.
continuity,
Yeah,
it's called.
yeah.
So between all the takes throughout the whole day, you have to make sure that everything happens the same. And that's more of a pain in the butt.
Okay, so where we left off is the church scene where Eric gets up in the pulpit and starts giving his sermon, and
Starts throwing
Lucy
shade at Lucy.
runs out because clearly he is about to tell the entire congregation that Lucy wants her period.
and she
and
doesn't
wants-
have it yet.
And she doesn't have it yet.
Yeah.
So it's a definitely. And then we follow up by going to the scene with Eric and Annie where Annie so kindly informs Eric that becoming a woman is not as lovely as he perceives it to be, which I thought was actually an interesting conversation because obviously, like, it was definitely the fact that he needed that reminder. But then again, you know,
I think it's
it's a
appropriate social commentary on the way that little girls or women in
Yeah.
society in general are put on a pretty pedestal, and we don't want to know anything too humanizing or gross about them because then it's not pretty, and we
Yeah.
don't want to deal with that.
right. Well,
Yeah.
because you want to think of all the like positive things, but there's like a lot of things that are like not great. Like, you know, when you're getting your period and you have cramps and you feel like you're going to die, that is not lovely.
Right.
That
Or
doesn't feel good.
When, you know, you get your period every month for years and years and years, and you're still surprised when it comes every time.
there's apps for that, and there's calendars.
I know I'm not alone in this.
Yeah, I mean, I get there is the irregular periods. That
No,
that's
I
the
mean, it can be regular, but I just still.
Okay, you guys. Gross.
Never
thing. Okay,
mind.
are we
Sorry.
okay?
Am I right?
And we're getting off base yet again. Is this how
Just
rewatches
kidding.
are supposed to go? Okay, so next scene is Mary's suggestion of how to make Lucy feel better is to take her running, because let's have the athletic sister take the least athletic sister on a run, and the way you make her feel better is giving the unathletic sister a tampon.
Was the idea
To
that you
run
went
with.
running to like shake it out?
I never thought.
I'm just asking for a
I
friend.
don't know, but I never thought about
Yeah,
that.
because clearly higher levels of fitness make your period.
Because
Oh
wasn't
my
everybody
God.
like workshopping like
Generally,
how
that
to,
works
how to
in the
get
opposite way.
your period going?
I mean, she did. I mean, it was Mary's idea for Lucy to stand on her head, so maybe it was to shake it out by
like,
running.
These
I'm
were
not.
all Mary's like ideas to get the
Keep in
blood
mind,
flowing.
this is the girl who wrote a book about periods.
There you go.
No, just kidding. But no, she did.
I love the casual tampon drop.
I know. I remember really thinking long and hard about how to execute. By the way, I also think I found the stunt coordinator. There was a stunt on the first episode of Seventh Heaven.
No,
Two
there
people.
wasn't.
Yes,
Was it
there
you running?
was. Yes, there was. Mary runs into Jeff and they fall down. That was a stunt coordinator. That
I
needed
guess
stunt coordination.
that qualifies.
It is. That was our only stunt
Okay,
in the first episode. The amazing director David Leitch.
nice.
Yes, and I believe that was the only possible stunt because I was going through it with a fine tooth comb.
It wasn't your
Known
headstand?
for directing stunt films.
And he started with Seventh Heaven,
Humble beginnings.
Humble Beginnings. And then we have Lucy drops a tampon. And I just remember trying to make sure that the hole in my shorts was big enough that the tampon could fall through, and being very calculated about that stunt of dropping the tampon because I was very
Quite a
serious.
stunt
It
you
was
pulled.
a stunt. You know what? There's a lot of precision in making sure that it looked right. And then I watched it back on the rewatch, and it looks ridiculous.
Well, it was also like an insert of the tampon.
Oh,
right, on the
inserts! Do you
ground.
remember all
It
those
is-
inserts?
To be fair,
Yes.
it
They were
is
my-
tricky to do something accidentally on purpose
Yes, that is true.
and to make it look like an accident. So
I don't think I succeeded, but moving
it's
on.
a tricky thing that
Moving on.
we got to deal with.
Yeah. All
Makes
right.
it
So next up is when Ruthie has that truth telling moment, like only Ruthie could do, because Ruthie was always the truth teller. When Eric comes down and says he's going to cook, and you tell him straight up that he's not a good cook, and then you said, "I love this part." He goes, "Why? Nobody else tells me that," and you say that you didn't. Nobody wants to hurt his feelings.
But I will.
Yeah, and you just tell it like it is, and then Simon asked for a dog.
That's right. There it is.
We-
if you're
we
wondering, timestamp below.
Yeah, we found
Haha.
we found we found the scene.
We found it. So not sure if this will air before or after or at the same time is that when we talked about this on a different podcast, but I'm a New Yorker. And so when we had shot the pilot, I was fresh here from New York and I still had my New York accent and I couldn't say asked. And it was like a struggle, so much so that they tried to get my parents to talk to me, to get me to like speak differently. And they did. It was for this word. I couldn't for the life of me get it done. And my takes were going on for a while, trying to get it right. And apparently since we just rewatched it, we know for sure
Everyone
that,
but David.
that they used a take where I said axed. Like they
They
didn't even
did.
go for it. But I remember when we were shooting it, Steven told me to just say asked and leave and say a different word that was like kind of a bad word. And I was like, no, I can't say that. And then he's like, don't worry about it. No one will notice. but I guess they did. And they just used axed. They gave up. I won. So the scene took place on the stairs. I said it took place on the stairs.
I think we're gonna have to like go back and we'll have like a little clip of where you say it's at the table.
No way.
You did.
I remember it was on the
No,
stairs.
because that's why they
it
were
is so
looking for
distinct.
scenes at the table.
I remember.
But
I know I said it.
But
was
I
on
do
the
have to say,
stairs.
when I was rewatching, I got very excited when I was like, oh my God, there's the scene we were talking
We
about.
found it.
We found it.
We found it, and it was in the pilot.
It was in the pilot. And yeah, because
Nice.
you were running up the stairs and then you actually then decide that you're hungry and you come back down.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I remember also those stairs because we didn't use those stairs a lot, but when you went up, there's like nothing up there.
You know, I did notice that the
Was it the
kitchen
back stairs?
No, it was the
front stairs,
Front
right?
stairs. Yeah,
That's
it was
where I
the front
remember
stairs.
it happening.
Well,
It
you
was
didn't
the
say
front
that
stairs.
when we were doing the.
Oh, your hand was still on the banister.
Yeah.
Were those kitchens? I saw the kitchen stairs that we used so much.
Oh my God.
In the pilot, were they actually in that house? In the pilot house, or was that the stuff that we maybe?
No, that's
reshot?
the reshot. That's the stuff we reshot.
wondering.
I don't
Yeah,
know
it's
if
like-
anyone did we ever resolve where those stairs went? Because in our hallway,
There's
and
no-
on the soundstage, we
Yeah.
had the upstairs hallway.
Yep.
And I remember we had, I remember where our room was.
Yep.
And then there was the parents' room back here. And
Yep.
our room was
Mhm.
here. The bathroom was across on this side.
Yep.
The
Yep.
girls' room was at
On
the
the
end,
end.
on
Yep.
the other
opposite
end.
of Annie and Eric.
One of the stairs came in over here somewhere, but like both of the stairs led to that hallway.
You know, geography's not my strong suit, but yeah, no, that never made sense.
Like, did we ever, or
No.
did we? No matter what staircase we went up, we just came out of that
We always came
stair
out.
exit.
Yeah,
the
they all
same
funneled
one
into
every
one
time.
It is
entrance.
I
true.
don't remember. By the way, I hope that made sense to anybody.
But it makes sense to us.
Yeah.
Do you remember how many
We're gonna
people?
have to do a diagram. We'll draw a diagram.
Well, I mean,
of,
I'm
like-
trying to make a
You know, like,
physical.
When we
Yeah.
would run up those stairs in the
Never
kitchen, the
mind.
space to stand and like actually be out of frame was smaller than this ottoman in front
Oh,
of
it was
us. I don't know if
tiny.
you can see
And
that.
then sometimes there was
there'd be, like,
5 of us up
Three-
there.
yeah, 3 to 5 of us all
And
up
usually
there.
Dawn was up there trying to catch you and
Mhm.
trying to keep
Yeah.
you from fidgeting.
And then keep us quiet.
Right,
Yeah.
and then we had the sides
then
of the
if
stage
some-
walls with all sorts of stuff. You
and
could
if
sit on
somebody was
them,
gassy up there, it was never a good scenario.
well, if I was up there, it probably
That's
smelled
true. I was trying
horrible,
not to point fingers.
but-
And also there was gum. There
somebody
was so
else,
much
though, who
gum
could've-
up there. It was so
What?
gross.
The
And
back-
sides.
Yeah,
The back
that's where you
stairs
put your.
Yeah.
had a bunch of gum. There was like a gum
Gum,
collection
yeah.
on the
Yes.
back stairs, and like when you went up around the corner.
Oh, do you remember Catherine would always take the gum out of her
Oh.
mouth and put it under the counter of the kitchen island?
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
actually.
Oh,
Now that you say that,
Catherine.
I do remember Catherine doing
There
that
was gum-
all the time.
yeah.
By the way, I also think that the gum at the top of the stairs was also
It was probably
Catherine.
Catherine.
Probably also
Yeah.
We're
Catherine.
blaming Catherine for the gum, yeah.
Well, I didn't chew gum.
But under the counter,
Yeah.
that was her move at like
Yeah.
the very last second. Like we'd
Uh-huh.
be rolling and she'd be like, "Oh,
yeah, that definitely was Catherine.
yeah."
Okay, so in preparation for
Outside.
wanting a dog, Simon is trying to show how he is responsible enough by training his little sister to be
Mhm.
like a dog.
Yeah. Didn't I have
Simon
like-
Simon has a weird trend of like dehumanizing small children.
Yes, because in like another episode,
In
like,
another
after
episode,
that, he's
We brought home
He's-
the homeless girl,
yeah,
and I ask if we can keep her.
right. And then you're like, oh, anyone under 5 has to do things like before 5 o'clock, whatever you say.
I mean, it was
this is
supposed to be
another-
like
Is
a
it really?
funny,
Yeah.
cute little like he doesn't understand kid joke, but I don't know. Is it a weird trend that Simon always
well, I think
was like that?
Matt.
I don't know.
I think it might be the second episode, but Matt like encourages you to manipulate your little sister. Into
Okay,
being
we're
your
on
slave.
episode
Okay.
1. Let's not move on to
Sorry,
episode 2.
sorry.
Let's stay focused.
All right, right. On
But
track.
wait, yes, but remember you learning how Simon trying to teach you how to sit.
He still hasn't succeeded.
And I still have not succeeded.
So this is when we realized that Mrs. Bink.
Why do I remember this better than you guys?
No, I do. I was
And
just.
I,
I
haven't seen
thought
the show in
I just
25 years.
in my mind we already wrapped it up. Yeah, This is when we learned that Mrs. Bink calls Eric, and we realized that it was all just for show
She's
because
in on
they're taking the oxygen tank away, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden Mrs. Bink is healed. It's a miracle. She's perfectly fine.
She's a con artist.
But she's also cheap because she gets.
I mean, the
she
minister's
thinks-
kind of a con artist.
His
Is that
dad-
cool for
I mean,
ministers to do?
he is a
to
pool
be
shark. All
All
manipulative
parents lie
like
to their
that?
children, though.
I don't know. It's
Oh,
not
yeah.
very godly.
It's true. Impersonating a person with a severe illness. I don't know.
Next up, the long-awaited moment comes when Lucy finally gets her period. And, all of a sudden, all is healed, all is well. She is happy. She is.
It came just in
She
time. For
asked.
the end of
It came just in time in the third act, which is great. And
And then that's
then
immediately
asks-
overshadowed by my dog.
and then asks Eric to go get tampons. They have their sweet moment in the hallway, and then Simon gets a dog.
Yeah.
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 So I mean, we were both waiting for something in that episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were waiting for
That's
a
right.
dog, and I was waiting. Yeah, for menstruation.
Both relatable.
Took completely.
Both can be a bitch.
Didn't Happy just quote wander into the yard? Where did you get
No,
Happy from?
no. Happy comes from Annie brings Happy home because Annie couldn't help herself, and she just went by the pound or the shelter.
Well, Eric tells me in the episode that if a dog like happens to show up,
Right.
that I could keep it, but I can't trick a dog into showing up.
Right.
And which is why I'm waiting around with binoculars
So
in
cute.
the attic. And then the way that that's played off is that the dog does show up in the front yard, and I think it's a miracle. And I run downstairs and then find out that my mom set it up for me and came through. Because,
Oh,
That scene with you in the attic with the binoculars and your little like Timberland boots.
that's
or whatever,
it was one of my
so
audition
cute.
scenes.
that's
Was
that
it?
Yeah,
so
the
cute.
scene where I'm upset in the attic waiting for Happy, and I'm like disappointed that like I thought that God would like just give me what I asked for, and I didn't understand why I'm not getting my wish kind of thing was part of like the audition process for Simon.
But I
makes
also
sense.
do you also remember because there is a portion where you say earlier in the episode, which we didn't talk about, is when you say something to Annie about Annie says, "Your dad and I have already talked about this, and the answer is no." And you said, "Well, good for me. Like you're like you have a mind of your own," and you
Yeah.
kind of set it up that like, oh, you go get him, like, and then it's Annie who like magically shows
Who
up with
gives
the
in.
dog. And then Eric is obviously mad, and there's this whole like moment where they have to be on the same page, and he goes, "Well, tell me why you basically did this."
Sorry.
Should we pause?
The
for-
moral of the story is the moms are suckers. You always try to get it from mom. That's how it's gonna work.
I see. I am not in that. That would not be me. Like you'd have to in my family. You'd have to go for Michael because I would not give
yeah?
in. Yeah, no
I-
way. I am like I am not the fun one.
You
nor,
will enforce order.
I mean, I guess that's.
I think
I don't
Simon
think
has
that
some of
that's
the-
too
the
far off.
best
I don't think that
lines,
that's
so.
surprising to anyone, right?
No, not at this point.
No, not at I don't think this was. I think it was very clear from very early on.
Yeah.
like pretty much as
sure.
ever since everybody's known me. But yeah, and I do love that. And then when Annie says the reason why is because Happy was set to be put down within 24 hours, and the story of Happy was that Happy was a rescue. She was.
Slated
Rescued.
for death. We saved her.
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put her to work on television.
She loved it.
And she hated
And she
it.
loved it.
She loved it.
Oh, poor Happy. Rest in peace, Happy.
Happy was a sweet,
She was a very
sweet, skittish dog.
skittish. She is.
She was very skittish.
Wait, and then next up comes, don't the grandparents come to visit?
I'm thinking about those candies.
That's not the pilot. Is that the pilot?
That's the pilot. Yeah, because
I knew that.
Isn't
because
that why
they
Eric
come
is
from-
cooking
they
dinner
co-
because Annie goes
they-
somewhere to deal with that?
they come from Arizona. No, that's
Where
that's a
all
different
grandparents
episode.
live.
They come, yes, they come from Arizona and they come to visit unexpected.
It's true.
And the reason
Okay.
why is Grandma has some bad news. And you know what's funny is watching back the episode, I did not remember that Grandma had cancer.
I did because I
David, would you remember that?
I remembered.
You did.
Yep.
You saw that in the rewatch when
Sure
you
did.
rewatched it.
That's why I knew the grandparents were in the pilot.
You didn't even know that until just now. So I think, have we wrapped it up? Have we hit? Have we? We did it. We did our.
Yeah.
You guys, we did our first rewatch, and it only took us hours.
We did. We definitely rewatched.
We rewatched. So on that note,
I'm trying to turn it off.
if you enjoyed rewatching with us on Catching Up with the Camdens, be sure to subscribe, follow, do all the things that you're supposed to do so that way you can stay up to date with us because there is more to rewatch. And maybe this
A
time
few.
we'll actually get maybe 200.
We did a
And
few
plus,
episodes.
So thank you for joining us on Catching Up with the Camdens. Catch us next time.
Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
And if you're joining us on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, do all the YouTube stuff so that we can grow with you guys and do some more.
And you can follow us on all of our social media, Catching Up with the Camdens.
Especially David's. He's really active.
He doesn't know about it, Mac.
Oh.
What?
It's nothing.
It was a different David.
Not you.
Saint David.